Good afternoon. Police in Merseyside are hunting for a gunman who shot dead a 9-year-old girl in Liverpool. She's been named today as Olivia Pratt-Korbel. The girl was shot in the chest in her own house in the Dovecote area of the city last night. She died later in hospital. Police say the incident happened after a man being chased by a gunman forced his way into the house. 2 other people were injured, including Olivia's mum, who was shot in the hand. Police have called the gunman cowardly. They've described the incident as truly shocking and are urging people to come forward to name the man responsible. Our North of England correspondent Danny Savage is in Dovecote.
I think it was shocking enough to wake up this morning to the news that a 9-year-old girl had been shot dead in this street here in Liverpool behind me, but then to hear from the police at lunchtime today about the exact sequence of events that led to that fatal shooting was just extraordinary. What the police are saying is that at about 10 o'clock last night, 2 men were walking down the street locally here when they were confronted by a man wearing a balaclava who had a gun, who started shooting at them. Olivia's mum, Cheryl, opens her front door to see what the commotion is outside, and one of the men being chased, a 35-year-old man, sees that door open and decides that he's going to seek refuge in that house. He forces his way past Cheryl into the home, but of course he is being pursued by a man with a gun, who eventually pushes his way into the house as well and starts shooting randomly at everybody in there. His original target, of course, was the 35-year-old man he was chasing, who received injuries. But of course, in the meantime, he takes a shot at Cheryl, who's Olivia's mum, and at Olivia as well. And the 9-year-old girl takes a gun wound to the chest and she is fatally injured. Police were here quickly. They realised she was in such a serious condition that the police officers, took her to Alderhay Hospital in Liverpool, but she couldn't be saved. This is a shocking crime and the gunman is still at large. Here's the background to what happened. It was around 10 o'clock last night when a man forced his way into a house in the Dovecote area of Liverpool and started shooting at those inside. A man and a woman were injured. A 9-year-old girl was killed. People living nearby heard the gunshots.
I was watching the football and I heard the 4 shots, 3, and then a later one rung out. And I come upstairs and said to her, "Did you hear that?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "I don't think it was fireworks."
It's absolutely disgusting. And I woke up to find that a little girl, 9-year-old girl, being shot dead.
Yeah, it's getting too close now. It's it's getting that way. Someone's been shot or they've been stabbed and you go, oh, another one, another one.
A large police cordon is now in place around the scene. This afternoon, detectives have held a news conference to give more information about their investigation.
It is believed that one of the injured parties, a 35-year-old man, was being chased by a man armed with a gun who was firing at him. The man being chased forced his way into Olivia's house and the offender ran in after him, firing a number of shots with complete disregard for Olivia and her family, who had no connection with the gunman or the man who forced his way in.
This incident has shocked people in Liverpool. It's the latest in a spate of shootings in the city. It's making people nervous.
The fact that a 9-year-old has lost her life, and as you say, 15 years yesterday since the city we lost Rhys Jones. There's just absolutely no place for this sort of violence in our street, particularly when we think of children and the lives ahead of them. There's a lot of people that are shook today in our community.
There'll be a case of working with the police force, working with the local community, trying to reassure people and obviously catch the perpetrators. That's the key thing here, isn't it? Is catching who's done this heinous crime.
It is clear that what happened here has the full attention of Merseyside police. The community now has to begin to process what happened and support the relatives of the little girl. I think the tone of the shock and anger as well from the senior police officers who held that news conference at lunchtime was clear to see. They are absolutely livid, to say it understated, that this has happened in their patch. They are appealing to the person responsible to give themselves up. They are making it very clear that a line has been crossed and the criminal fraternity in Liverpool need to have a long, hard look at themselves to give up the person and the other people involved. Police stressing that they just don't want the person who fired the gun. They want the assailant, the man who was with the man who has been chased last night, the second person who has been chased by the gunman. They want the person who bought the gun. They want the whole chain of people involved in this to give themselves up and come forward. There is a huge police operation underway today. They say that the person who was firing the gun had complete disregard for Olivia and her mother as he was chasing the man who was his target. And you had this situation afterwards where the 35-year-old man who had been chased was injured outside the house here in this street, and his friend calls by in a car, picks him up and takes him to hospital, leaving Olivia and her mum Cheryl with their injuries in their home. No regard for them whatsoever. So he was carted away to hospital by his friend. The police have now traced that dark-coloured Audi that was involved in that drive-away, and they are continuing their inquiries along those lines. But they still have not got the key people involved in this shocking crime. There will be more armed police on the streets of Liverpool this afternoon and tonight, and there will be a huge presence until the people involved in this are caught.
Danny Savage there in Dovecote.